Hello, fellow adventurers and collectors. Filmaholic here. On today's episode of the Joe Report, we got something a little bit special in that this was entirely unplanned, actually. First off, I'd like to apologize for the absence. Kind of had a lot of stuff going on, but in that time, I just so happened to get a very surprising purchase out of the way. For those of you who don't know, when I collect G.I. Joe, I try to get all the international variants, whether that be the different head styles or what have you. I have an original Geyperman, but I actually came across this reproduction Geyperman, and I practically got it for a steal, considering that this is not only out of print, but hard to find here in the States. So I jumped on the opportunity. So I figured initially my plan was to take it out of the box, dress another figure into the Parachute Regiment outfit, but I was so impressed by the box and the design of it, I figured I might as well keep it as pristine as possible and actually not tear into it for once. So something I will admit in terms of my Geyperman figure, the vintage one that I had, I always felt cautious as to posing it and everything because I was worried about breaking it. I know muscle bodies aren't as strong as or easily to repair as a typical G.I. Joe, so I figured don't really mess with it until I get either a duplicate or a reproduction. So that being said, I figured with this, I found it was easy to actually remove the figure without, damaging the box too much. So I figured I might as well swap the clothes onto my vintage copy and then at least play and photograph my reproduction here. So that being said, the box is phenomenal. I love the different photography that they have for the various outfits that came out in their line. And for those of you who don't know, Geyperman is the Spanish version of G.I. Joe. As G.I. Joe was licensed internationally, they had different production companies make him. And not only that, they kind of put their own twist on it to kind of gear it towards their own demographics. So as you'll see here, there's different, outfits that we didn't get here in the States. So like I said, my original plan was to open this because I'm a big advocate of just, ripping into action figures regardless of how old they are or how valuable they may be perceived. But with this one, I figured it'd be nice to actually keep it in nice condition and I could utilize it to keep my Geyperman safe. Now, for those of you who don't know G.I. Joe bodies, I figured it would be a good opportunity to showcase some that I have in my collection. The one on the left is the typical one. The one in the middle is the Geyperman transitional figure, and then on the right is the completed muscle body, which is also the reproduction. So I know a lot of viewers who came from the doll video didn't know what a G.I. Joe body looked like underneath, so here's a good idea of what the evolution was for G.I. Joe and the action figure type of body. So originally we kind of had like a painted figure type of articulation, and it was strung with string and everything, but iterations that evolved out of Action Man, the English version of G.I. Joe, introduced things like the muscle body into the line. So something interesting that I should note as well is that the reproduction doesn't even have the Geyperman stamp on it. I'm not entirely sure what that's about, but I found it interesting and something to note as well. But yeah, this definitely didn't go as planned, but again, for those who are unfamiliar with Geyperman, it's pretty much an Action Man Eagle Eye's head, just without the Eagle Eye mechanism inside of it. And that can be seen as both a good and bad thing. It definitely gives them a unique look compared to the other G.I. Joe offerings out there. But I kind of would be interested to see, had they done an eye mechanism, how they would go about doing it, but this is also unique enough as it is. I don't think they necessarily needed it for their line, but again, I love these international figures. It's just interesting to see how they took their own take on G.I. Joe. It's such a even platform to kind of grow and expand upon. So yeah, here is a look at the vintage Geyperman in the reproduction outfit, along with a temporary outfit for my reproduction Geyperman. I have to stock up on some more clothes, so he's kind of in some temporary outfit right now. But yeah, definitely a great opportunity, and I'm glad I was able to jump on this because like I said, I was very cautious as to whether or not to photograph my vintage one, so it's nice to have a reproduction to actually play with. So I added a little bit of styrofoam so he's not putting too much pressure on that clip as to not break it, but if it breaks, so be it. But yeah, I really do like this piece, and I'm glad that I was able to get it at a great price. Again, you know, I was just waiting for the right opportunity. So yeah, with that said, I thank you all for watching, and if you feel so inclined, please like, comment, and or subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. I'll catch you all next time.